going to be important
No doubt.
for you. So you've been playing basketball for a really long time.
Been playing ever since I was little, you know, and I always understood the mental side of it, but like especially going into the NBA, seeing what separates those guys, like the elite of the elite, it's all mental.
Part of what we'll talk about today is how your brain is, and then how we could make it even better.
Perfect, that sounds good to me.
You always say brain health is three things. Brain envy, you have to care about it. So when you leave today, I'm hoping you really care about it.
No doubt I will.
Avoid things that hurt it, and then do things that help it. It all comes down to this one little question I want you to ask yourself every day. Is this good for my brain or bad for it?
Right.
And if you can answer that with information and love, right? The reason to do the right thing is because you love yourself.
Right.
And you love your mission, your profession, and you love the people around you, right? Because with a better brain, you're a better friend.
No doubt.
Ever have a concussion or head injury?
Never had a concussion, I don't think, but I hit a car with my head. I don't know if you can see that scar right there, the little scar right there.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, this is when I was young, probably 9 or 10, and I'm riding with my friend on a bike, and I'm looking back at him, and his mom was with us, and his mom was like, "Michael, look." So I turn, and a car, like a parked car, is right there, and I hit it with my head right here, and I like flip over the car. Ended up going to the
that's a big deal.
Yeah, ended up going to the emergency room and everything. Just had stitches. I don't know how severe it was, but I definitely hit my head. That's the only like major head trauma that I've had.
So what did teachers say about you?
School always came super easy to me. Like I always had a 4.0. I was always in the higher classes, but I didn't really have to try that hard. I was super good at math and science. For me, it was like, especially in college, like school was never my goal, because I knew like, if you're going to the MBA, it's not like you're gonna be in school 4 years. So in college, I ended up picking the easiest classes because I knew I'd be there like 6-7 months.
And what do you think you're gonna do after the MBA?
You know, like you say, how you get a passion out of like, how you have a passion for helping people, you know, that's kind of how I am. So after basketball is over, finding different ways to, and that's what I'm kind of doing with my podcast a little bit, just trying to have conversations, talk to people, help influence people for the better. Obviously in a different way than you do, but that's where I get a lot of my significance from too, just being a good influence on society. But I feel like I find my identity in some other things besides basketball, so I think I'll be good.
Good.
I'm more of a carefree type of person, but like as far as basketball comes, things like that, pressures, there's been times where I get like, with my injury, not knowing if I was gonna play again, there's been some like anxiety and like not knowing what's next, how I'm gonna heal. And then when it comes to basketball, sometimes there's just a lot of pressures in the NBA that I feel like I deal with them okay, but I could deal with them better for sure.
What roadblocks do you think you have? What do you think could be better?
I think I'm very like disciplined in some areas, but then in other areas, like when it comes to like my workouts and my health and all this different stuff, I'm very disciplined. But then other areas, I'm sometimes not consistent. And then that plays a toll on my mental, because I feel like when a lot of it is your systems, like, you know, getting on a schedule and then maintaining it and, you know, consistently making the right choices. And then obviously you're more mentally like there. When you're making mistakes or things you don't want to do, then it can take a toll on your mental, I feel like. So I feel like some of those things for me, that's something I want to improve on, like consistency off the court.
Consistency as far as the decisions you make,
Decisions,
what you eat or what you drink, or
nothing at all with health, or what I put in my body, or things like that. But more like, you know, consistency, practicing like my faith, like getting into my Bible every day, or consistency, you know, hanging around the right girls, things like that for me are kind of like a hindrance at times. I don't feel like I have an addictive personality as far as, you know, drugs or alcohol, but some of the other stuff, like, I just have a certain pull towards it that I wish wasn't there. You know what I mean?
It's a brain function. You have better self-control when you know what you want, so having it clearly defined. I have an exercise I like called the one-page miracle. On one piece of paper, write it out. Relationships, work, money, physical, emotional, spiritual health. What do you want? And then you post it where you can see it every day. And so if you do that, so that'd be one of the first things we do.
Right.
And that's a frontal lobe function. So we'll look at your brain in a little bit, but this front third of the brain, largest in humans than any other animal. This is what makes us human right here. And when it's strong, it knows what it wants, and then it acts consistently over time to get it. But when your head hit that car, it might have hurt it. And then even though you want it, it may be harder.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No doubt.
The other things, sleep for sure. If you sleep 7 or 8 hours, it gets good blood flow to your frontal lobes. Less than that, and when you travel, it can become problematic because there's less blood flow here. So you always want to think, okay, how can I keep good blood flow there? I think I told you I did a program with NBA referees, and so they ref a game at night, and then they have to take the first flight out in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is insane because it means they're always sleep deprived.
That's why they make so many bad calls.
That's why they make so many bad calls.
Nah, I get it.
Nah, don't tell my friend Mark Davis that. So we did a study called SPECT, and SPECT looks at blood flow and activity. It looks at how your brain works. And it basically shows us 3 things. Good activity, you have a lot. Too little activity, there's some going on we have to talk about. And too much, and that's not the issue. So here's an example of a healthy scan. We're gonna look at it in 2 ways. This looks at the outside surface, and it should be full, even, and symmetrical. So this view, we're looking underneath the brain. Top is the front part of the brain, bottom is the back. This is your cerebellum, which I would expect in an NBA player to just be great. Here, blue is average activity, red and white are the most active parts of the brain, which should be back here. This is the cerebellum. And then the visual cortex here. When we look at your scan, I don't like it so much. It's low in activity. And is that from trauma? I think part of it, because I can actually see here in the back, your head got whacked. And as you described it, you're going on a bike and you're turned this way and someone says, hey, Michael, and you go here, boom, and then you flip. That's a lot of force. Your brain is the consistency of soft butter, tofu, custard, somewhere between egg whites and Jell-O. And if you look inside a skull, it has sharp, bony ridges. So I've asked God many times, why haven't you put bumper guards? If I can make this better, and I'm gonna show you how to do that, you're gonna have more mental horsepower. And when you go, I want to make this decision, you'll be more likely to follow through.
Gotcha.
But we need to fix this, because 5 years from now, let's say you didn't care about your health and you went out drinking and not sleeping and some of the things you see other NBA players do, you won't make good decisions.
Right.
Which means you won't last as long.
Right.
Right? Now here, blue is average activity. Your cerebellum is awesome. It's healthy. I like that. Emotional brain's up a little bit, but I'm not concerned about this. If I fix this, you will love me forever.
Beautiful.
So I can actually show you how much better it can be. So if you do everything I want you to do, supplements, hyperbaric oxygen, 2 months from now, your brain can look like this. It can just be healthy.
Yeah.
But if you go, oh, I think Dr. Raymond's crazy, over time, your brain will end up looking like that. At which point, you're not making good decisions, you're not managing your money well, you're not showing up on time, things like that.
That's so crazy.
So when you have a bad day, and say you end up doing things you don't really want to do, rather than just be hard on yourself, go, what happened?
I actually like to do that, yeah. If I'm messing up in a certain area, and that's why I think like getting to know yourself, like, okay, I did this. What led up to this? Was it because I didn't get my morning quiet time? Was it because of the night before when I was out too late?
Yeah, and so if you learn from the vulnerable times, you can start preventing them from happening.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I see people, they come to see me, they're generally not doing great, but they have good days and bad days. And then I intervene and they get better. I love that. But nobody just gets better. They're better and then they're not, and then they're better and then maybe they fall back. But if they stay with the program and they learn from what brings them down, they didn't sleep, they didn't eat, they believed every stupid thing they thought, then you can prevent them.
Right.
That makes sense?
For sure.
Have you ever done hyperbaric oxygen?
I've heard of it. I know like a lot of NBA players do it. Hyperbaric chambers, right? Like I know LeBron and all those guys use that. I don't have one, but I've heard it's very beneficial.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the things I think will be a good thing for you, because it promotes healing.
Right.
So what we should plan on is if you could get a hyperbaric chamber, and you can rent them or you can buy them, I would go in it 40 times and then let me just at least look at your supplements and labs if there's something I want to adjust. And then we'll scan you again. Maybe.
That sounds good. Yeah, I'm doing all this stuff, and then every year I come down here, get a scan, make sure I'm improving.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be awesome to see it too, like actually see it, everything you're doing actually work. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do it. Like one thing about me is I got the people around me and the self-will to implement everything that we've gone through, for sure.
And it's, it's about team. If you have the right team, you do well. Good. Questions?
Nah, feel great.